Hello friends, welcome back for another part of our walkthrough of Oxygen Not Included Spaced Out DLC. It's been a little while since we checked in, so I figured that we should just kind of talk about the updates and what I'm thinking at this point, and then we'll get into more of the meat of what I want to deal with in this part. So, back home, lots more solar panels here, since we've been just doing nothing but digging and sweeping and kind of cleaning up this outer area of the map with our duplicates that have been here. Also been digging and sweeping a lot more around the map in various points just to get more stuff incorporated into our shipping network. Especially like phosphorite, because the phosphorite's going to be running a little bit low if you're not keeping up on this, and it's going to block your research. So, nevertheless, still have lots of research going. I'm just getting everything that doesn't require the data analysis or the space research. So just kind of checking the boxes there and getting everything done. So yeah, nothing too wild going on back at home, and that's going to kind of be the story. Also continuously producing off of my metal refineries. Been making more glass as it's been needed. Sending supplies. You can see I'm sending myself sand right now, which, let me see how much we actually have here and if I need to stop. That's probably enough. I think we can stop. The other things I've been sending myself, though, have been supplies to start making suits. The reason why is because as I've been digging around into these ice biomes and trying to get access to all my sleet wheat, been noticing that these don't really have caps on them. There's no abyssalite here, so these will eventually be threatened by the heat of the asteroid, so I kind of want to get out there and fix this. So, created a liquid lock, created a bunch of suit docks, I sent myself reed fibers for these. I moved my oxygen setup over here so that we could start getting oxygen filled up into these suit stations and start getting out there and building a... Oh man, I'm totally sending myself the wrong stuff. This is not gonna go well because I forgot to set this and I forgot to give this power. Well, this is gonna be a little bit of a mess. Let's do this instead. Let's disconnect those and disconnect these, and we'll just like rerun it through the filter. Okay. Anyway, we'll get all that stuff fixed, but the idea is I'm just going to put a couple layers of insulated tile on top of these just to preserve these biomes for as long as possible. Only because this is my food that's going to be kind of pushing me for the rest of the game. So this seems silly, seems like a little bit of a waste of time, but I think it's worthwhile right now. Jean's very happy about this element, you can see. Could not be happier. So just going to preserve these biomes here really quickly. And then we're going to widen the base still even more before we start entering the oil biome. I don't know if we're going to enter in this video or not, so just kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. Just wanted to provide a little status update, and we'll kind of see where we land. So yeah, that's that for now. Here we go. Just in case you get yourself stuck in this type of situation, I'm just rerunning all the contents of this tank that could have had the wrong things in them because my filter wasn't active by then, and running it back through. It looks like it was a lot better than I thought. But yeah, so you can just kind of rerun it this way, and since this line's supposed to be clean, we can call it good. I'm just going to switch this back to start refilling my tank and not send it back through my filter. Just going to send it up the line instead. Deconstruct all the extra pipes that we don't need anymore. We can reconnect it, and there you go. There's a good way to filter out a tank that may have gotten the wrong things in it, even though we were expecting it to only be oxygen. So yeah, now, filtering out the stuff that we don't want, which is like this carbon dioxide, polluted oxygen, that kind of stuff. Getting our suit docks filled up. Gonna start sending our suits over here, which is always exciting. I think duplicates are idling here, so they should run up here and do this pretty quickly. The other thing that I really want to get going here is I want to get my shipping network set up here as well. And you want to make sure that you at least have someone here that's capable of doing that with enough skill points. So I just spec'd Ada out to be able to do this, and we're going to start setting up a shipping network here that is very similar to our initial one. So just going to drop everything off in the same place. I'm going to drop it right over top of where the things get printed, so they're all pretty much stacked up to begin with. And then just kind of send it out what we need. We don't need that many things here, so for one, it's just going to be like coal. Obviously going to need that. So any of the coal that we get. I'm also going to put it on a conveyor receptacle rather than just dumping everything on the floor, because if there's any excess when I stop needing this as much, then I'm going to ship it all back. Speaking of shipping things back, I'm going to set this up and make sure that it's obvious which one it is. So I'm just going to kind of turn it sideways. We'll put a auto sweeper here. I may need to move this actually. Yeah, let me move this. This isn't a good idea. Let me move this over just a little bit so it can reach more. There we go. And I'll drop the stuff off from the other place. Let's say here. No reason to be overly cute about it. So we'll drop that off here. The stuff that needs to get shipped back, I'm going to start worrying about because there's stuff here that I don't really want for the long term. There's going to be a lot of cobalt and a lot of other stuff like that that I can start sending back if I have access to it. And one of my objectives before I leave this planet is going to be to basically, like, take all the useful stuff out of it and ship it back to my central base, which is where most of my production is going to be happening. Only because my shipping network there is more robust. That's going to be the best place to, like, it's very central on the map, obviously, so anything that I need to send back and forth, it's easier to send to the middle on average than it is to send to some fringe base. So, yeah, just going to get all that kind of stuff set up here, too, and do kind of the boring stuff of getting out here and clearing, or rather, setting up my lines of insulated tile. For this first part, I am going to make sure that I push my tile over as far as possible so that if anything comes in at an angle, it won't start to boil this water. So yeah, that's just going to be another small little status update on what's going on, but, you know, we'll continue to make progress. Here comes those hot meteors, by the way. This is exactly why I want to get this done, because it's already melting everything, so perfect timing. Thank you for proving my point. Okay, whoa, we're making a mess here, too. Man, it totally destroyed those tiles. This will not be that bad, usually. Once it starts to build up a little bit more, it'll stop damaging your tiles, but I'm going to just live with it being damaged for right now instead of spending the steel to deal with it. So if you just leave this alone, it will eventually build up enough. You might just have to run some repair missions or repair jobs here and there, so... Yeah, perfect timing. Okay, cool. I'm going to get on this and just kind of put some protection up for it without wasting too many resources, so we'll get there. Okay, we've got... Oh, great timing. Right when we start. And the double pays are back at it again. Alright, we got most of our top put on here. Still got a little bit more to go, but that suffocation warning came at just a perfect time because one thing that we need to set up in pretty much any colony that we're in is a ventilation system, and I have not done mine yet, so now is probably the time to do it. Just as a quick refresher, I know that we've done this on the other colony a couple times before, so I'm just going to kind of speed run this really quick. Basically, all I need is just something that's going to head straight out into... Whoa, straight out into space. Like that. Hopefully something that's not going to get hit by meteors, that is. Then we need to grab anything that we're interested in keeping off of this line, so that can be some carbon dioxide or chlorine or something like that, but this colony I don't really need to keep any gases, so I'm not going to filter it at all. I'm just going to send everything out if I'm detecting an element that I don't want. So gas element sensor right above it. Oh, I need to send myself some more refined metals. Used up all my copper. Whoops. I don't even know I've never done that before. That's so much easier than searching for it. Alright, allow manual use. Gotta get our duplicants to run this over here because I'm still not shipping it out automatically, but... Yeah, so sent myself some of that. Let's hurry up and get this so I don't have to stall for too much longer. Thank you, Harold. You're homie. Alright, let's go back. So yeah, the whole idea is just need to detect the element that is a couple tiles above this one. And if it's not oxygen, I want to ship it out, or not ship it out, blow it out into space. So here comes our copper. Be able to get that in just a second. Definitely don't want to spend steel on that. In fact, I don't even know where my steel came from. I didn't send myself any. I must have found it when I deconstructed something. Okay, let's get this going. Gas element sensor. There we go. Alright, so just want to set up a gas element sensor a couple tiles above it, not gate, straight into a filter gate. All that we're going to be doing is saying if we're detecting something other than oxygen for a good amount of time, in a row, then I want to turn the pump on, and regardless of what it is that comes through the line, I want to send it out into space, because we're basically assuring it's going to be something we don't want. It could also be polluted oxygen, so I might augment this one a little bit, actually. Let's do this. We set up a couple of spaces that are nearby. That'll be more so for cleaning any polluted oxygen that gets down here, so I'm not just endlessly sending polluted oxygen out. There we go. Alright, just something like that. And we'll just send that all out into space. And yeah, ventilation system, definitely essential for this. I'll keep on getting the lid on our base here so that we're protecting our ice biome. Then we'll dig into the rest of these to make sure we get access to it. If anything else interesting happens along the way, I'll check back in. But if not, we'll just kind of keep going about it. Not a whole lot of momentous things happening at this point. It's just getting settled and kind of doing some of the basics. So I'll be right back. Okay, lids on. We've had another couple of meteor showers, just the ice ones. It'll kind of oscillate between a couple of different ones, but it's good that the ice is hitting first, because then it can absorb the impact of the bigger ones, which are going to melt it, but also drop regolith. Eventually this will get buried in regolith, which is very hot. There's still some of it right here, but this should preserve our ice biomes for quite a long time. So this should work out. I usually don't have any issues with this. Sometimes some buildings out here can get damaged, but sometimes it's also not really worth going out there and cleaning it up. I just need that to be a layer while the regolith can pile on there. So yeah, that's how we're going to deal with it on this planet, but we're going to deal with it very differently on other ones. So we'll get there when the time comes. All right. So I've gotten all the access to sleet wheat. So going to mark them all for harvest, and this should be a major hub for berry sludge production throughout the game. I'm going to use this a lot to provide food for rocket missions and for settling on other planets and that kind of stuff. So we're pretty much ready to start shaping out some of the rest of this. With these areas, sometimes your duplicates can come in here and breathe all the oxygen, which will leave the pressure a little bit low. And it's kind of a long trip sometimes for some of these instances where they need to go grab some sleet wheat. So I'm just going to send some oxygen in here just to keep these nice and filled up so that my duplicates can walk around in there and work. It's not a big deal to use that much oxygen on this just to keep these filled up. I think it's fine. It's also like, you got to remember the rules of how dense gas is versus liquids and solids. This is not going to put any sort of recognizable change on how much or what the temperature is inside here. So it should really not affect it. If you were pumping in super hot gas, then yeah, maybe a little bit, but there's just so much more density to the solids here that contain all of the coldness that I think we should be fine. So I'm just going to drop some stuff in here like this, just some vents in each little chamber that I have opened up here so that can get populated with oxygen. Also need to make sure to wall off any parts that are starting to merge. So in a few places, the biomes can start to merge together, and I want to separate those to keep as much of the coldness inside here. There's not an opposite to heat, right? I don't know what word to use, because you would say, oh, they exchange heat with each other, but you can't really say, they exchange coldness with each other. I guess you can, but it just sounds weird. I don't know. On this planet in particular, one other thing that you're going to come across are these wrecked satellites. I'm going to leave these alone for right now. I may talk about them in this run, or I may not. Short answer, and this will kind of be... We'll cross this bridge if we happen to get there, but they can be a really great way to generate rad bolts, because if you look at the radiation overlay, it's ridiculous for these things, and all they do is just sit there and generate radiation. So if I ever run out... What's going on here? Uh-oh. Oh, this isn't good. Let's see. What's the easiest way to get these two out? I think just these two tiles, and they should be able to get out. They're very happy! Yay! Let's suffocate! Alright, this should be fine. Cool. So, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Let's see. Oh, the crashed satellites. So, yeah, they'll generate a ridiculous amount of radiation, and they kind of just sit there. So, if you ever need to switch your radiation source for your research, I would switch it to here and leave these crashed satellites alone. You can rummage them to gather supplies, but most of the time it's not really worthwhile. I would, at the very minimum, keep one. So, I would just keep this one around and just try to keep your duplicants away from it. Radiation's not that bad to deal with. Like, I've never seen a duplicant die from it, but I honestly don't know if it's possible for them to. I've seen them throw up a lot, and I've seen them have problems with it in terms of, like, hurting their productivity, but I've never seen them directly get killed. So I don't know if that's a possibility, but yeah, just kind of keep them away and you should be totally fine. But if you ever do want to start generating some radiation, this is like, I think this is probably the best source that there is. Only because you don't have to do anything. You just have to put stuff next to it and it just works. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so we got the air in here. Let's start to shape out the entrance to get down into the oil biome, which is kind of what we've been building up to. That's the whole point of coming to this place anyway. I'm just going to wall off our water pit here on a couple sides. Actually, let me talk about the shipping for this part really quickly. So shipping this out, I'm just going to drop a bunch of auto sweepers kind of in an arrangement like this to make sure that they cover all the space. That's not going to reach there quite enough. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Okay, jeez. I want to make sure this is going to hit all the parts that I want it to. Okay, that should work. Just kind of stick it in there. So all I'm going to do with the shipping for this part is I really want the Pacus to stay down here and I want them to stay wild. So I'm just going to cover up all the spaces that I want stuff shipped out from. And this will include any fish fillets that they drop. But I do not want to ship their eggs. I want to keep their eggs here so that they just continue to keep up their population. Sometimes if you have too many Pacus and not enough space, you could just dump some more water in here to keep them happy, but this is just going to be another nice place to generate some free food and not have your duplicants have to do anything to get that. Kind of similarly to how we're getting a little bit of free power from these plug slugs whenever they go to sleep at night, so yeah, I just wanted to mention that. So the entrance to the oil biome, you just kind of want to pick a spot, and you're going to need to keep in mind that you'll want another spot nearby that's going to be used to cool off the material that's coming from down here, because this area is really hot. Like, you have to have suits to go in this area, but getting in here is kind of a little bit of a different story. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down this side, and then our material cooler, I think I'm going to build it over here because we need something that's right up against the edge of the oil biome. So just going to kind of build something like that. I also could kind of scoot it over, but I'm just going to build my entrance a little bit underneath here. It's going to be a little weird at first to get this going. Let me check our time here. Let me do this. I'll just build this off screen because we've seen suit exits already. We've dealt with this before in other walkthroughs. I'll just kind of get it constructed, and then I'll come back and explain it in the next video. So let's call this one good for right now. It's kind of gone on for a little bit too long, but that's okay. Alright, we'll be back. We'll get in the oil biome. We'll start getting petroleum, all that fun stuff next time. So thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you back here really soon.